Hello. Welcome to episode 84 of Let's Talk Immigration. Uh, the first thing I want to talk about diversity visa 2020 2021 selectees Gomez, good luck. Muhammad, Fong Jong, Kennedy, Ager, Ray, go, all of those cases and that appeal that a week ago, we found out that we lost, that the Biden administration won, and that we lost. Um, I've talked with attorneys in Gomez Class Counsel and also with Go, and they are all on board with going forward with asking for in-bank review. That means a review of the full court of the Circuit Court of Appeals instead of just the three-judge panel. The full court is going to look at the decision from the three-judge panel. So is it over? Technically, no. But what I would like is for DV 2020 selectees, if it's possible, to just let this go. Just in your mind, it's over. Hopefully, we'll be able to change that. But I don't want anybody to get their hopes up because of another step, because this has become emotionally taxing and exhausting for all of you to go up and down. It's like a roller coaster, right? Of emotions of like, oh, this is good. Oh, this is bad. Oh, this is good. I think it's better to just move on. And hopefully we'll be able to reverse what's happened. But I don't want you to have your hopes up. So that's the first thing I wanted to talk about today. The next thing I wanted to talk about, let me see here. If you are interested in seeking asylum, always use an attorney. Also, I don't actually handle that. Raphael's office does in New York. You're welcome to call him or hit me up and I'll give you some other suggestions based on where you are and what your language is. I do not handle asylum, but I believe that everyone should use an attorney to prepare their asylum application, or things could go really bad. Other things I need to talk about today. The impact of Chevron. There's a Supreme Court case that says the Chevron doctrine is gone. Will that impact any of our cases? For the most part, it will not. It will not, in fact, impact the DVs or anything like that. It will impact a couple of my lawsuits where I am challenging policies, and the State Department is saying, oh, because of that ambiguity in like Section 1202B, for example, we have deference because of the Chevron case, and now Chevron's gone. So that might give us an advantage in the cases where we're challenging the DS 5535 scheme, and also an advantage in cases where we are challenging the State Department's decision to not issue the annual allotment of family preference category visas, okay, which is actually on appeal now. One of those we lost at the district court level, and it's on the appeal to the Ninth Circuit. I think I'm going to be filing more appeals lately because I don't like to lose, and if I can get clients to continue fighting, that's what I want to do. Okay. Let me check out the questions. Maybe the questions will lead to other fun conversation. Hello, Mr. Morrison. Could you please share your thoughts on how the latest news on Chevron overturn may affect current Mandamus cases, delayed AP? Okay, the overturning of Chevron will not impact current Mandamus cases for delayed AP unless, small chance, those cases include a policy challenge that involves ambiguity of a statute. We have such a case pending in DC right now for I think they're Somali families, actually, not Iranian families, that are stuck in AP, and we challenged the DS 5535 scheme, and the government come back and said Chevron. And so I got to file something with the court the other day and said, no Chevron. There's also, we have, I think, 5 cases pending in California that are have policy challenges to the DS 5535 scheme where Chevron may come into play. But those are group lawsuits that have challenges to policies. Most of your just regular mandamus lawsuits do not include policy challenges. So Chevron will have no effect. Omar says, you look good. Thank you, Omar. I don't feel good. I feel like I have been stuck at this computer for 25 years and I've not been able to leave the room, but it's good that I look relatively good to you right now. Safi says, DV 2021. As I mentioned at the beginning, maybe you come in later, we are going to be appealing the decision from the Circuit Court of Appeals to in-bank review of the full Circuit Court. But I do not want anybody to get their hopes up. Omar says, I send you a message, include some important notice, hoping you see it soon. Great, Omar. It's probably buried in the 1,000 messages I have pending right now. 600 are on Telegram. There are many other places too. I will get to it eventually. I always get through my messages eventually. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So it doesn't look like we have many questions today, just people wanting us to move forward with efforts to appeal the loss and the good luck, and that's the plan. So there's no problems there. Omar says, any plans the Republicans share about how they will control or change immigration system? It seems that they will win. Oh my goodness, Omar. You don't even know. There are plans. It's called Project 2025, and it is ugly. Oh, can I even find it? I tried to. Maybe I'm not using the right website. Project 2025. There it is. I'm going to share this with y'all. We're interactive here at Let's Talk Immigration. This is the website for Project 2025, which is a presidential transition project for how the Republicans think that Trump should handle his next administration. What's disturbing is a lot of the people that are involved in this they're collecting people to work for the next administration. But a lot of people that are involved in this are the people that were in the last administration. So they've had a couple years to think about like why things didn't work the way they wanted, why they weren't able to deport all the immigrants and all these other crazy ideas that they have. So I tweeted a few days ago about some things that do not make sense. One of the things is they want to undo what happened. And after 9/11 in 2001, they decided that they wanted that they wanted like immigration. It got split up in a different way. Okay. So now there's USCIS as part of it. DOJ is part of it. There's ELIR immigration courts. That's part of DOJ. There's the State Department. There's the Department of Homeland Security that's over USCIS. There's ICE. There's Customs Border Patrol. There's all these little offices. All that organizational structure became what it is after 9/11. They want to change that and upset it. One thing that they propose is to make it just one agency that's like anti-immigrant, right? Strangest thing, they didn't include the State Department's Bureau of Consular Affairs in that proposal. So it's weird that they like, we're just going to have one agency that deals with immigrants. And then they left out merging with that agency the branch of government that actually handles immigration in the U.S. I don't know, or visas. I was surprised. It's almost like maybe it was written by someone that wasn't thinking or didn't understand what they were doing. And it was written by, I think, one of the Chads, one of the leaders in the last administration. Pretty crazy. So Project 2025, if the Republicans take control, things are going really, really bad, okay? I'm like exploring ideas on where I could live outside the United States, if that gives you any insight to what I think about another Trump administration. So hopefully we will avoid that, and somehow Trump will be defeated in the fall. Okay, big distraction there. Thanks, Curtis. Good news today. AP has finished. Happy Independence Day. That is a happy Independence Day. Congratulations. I think that happened more today than it's happened in any day recently. I have found out that multiple clients either got their interview today or their AP was cleared or something like that. They made progress in their case. And I think it's because government workers like to, if they're going on a long weekend, and many will be gone, not working Thursday or Friday, they like to give good news to somebody so they'll feel good all weekend. So maybe that's what happened. I don't know. But I don't care. I'm happy for you. And good luck at finishing up the last part of the process. What is your thought about the recent Supreme Court SCOTUS decisions, always 6-3 in a polarized way? Well, I'm not happy with those decisions. I mean, there's a couple things that could have been done to prevent this. Like Biden could have, when he had the opportunity, I don't think he could now, he could have expanded the court from 9 judges to 13 judges. FDR almost did that. But I don't know. He's napping. Who knows? I think a lot of these Supreme Court's decisions right now are going to enable Trump to do really bad things. I worry about that. Okay. Mother says, how quickly can Trump cause damage to DV 2025? My interview is expected to be in January, specifically the consulate in Montreal, Syrian-born Canadian, so also concerned about DS 5535 delays. Wow. The date of your interview is important. He can issue a proclamation his first day in office, right? So like when he's inaugurated on January 21st, he can, or January 20th, he could do the proclamation the same day. The first version of the Muslim ban in 2017 was done on his first day in office. So be prepared that that could be an obstacle that you face. Team shared the link of Project 2025. Yusuf says, save DV21 2020. Yay. I'm not making fun of you. I'm just like, I'm asking you all for questions. I want to save DV 2020 and 2021, and we're going to file an in-bank appeal. Okay. Hanny says, Corner Post versus Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System. The court holds that claim under the Administrative Procedure Act to challenge an agency action first comes into being when the plaintiff is injured by final agency action. Any part useful for good luck go? I think it's contradictory with Court of Appeals opinion. The Court of Appeals opinion didn't reach the Administrative Procedures Act. It didn't reach whether or not the applications were unreasonably delayed. I mean, they were. Judge Mehta and Judge Chutkan found that they were, but the Court of Appeals decision in Good Luck says we're not going to look at that. Instead, we're reversing the appeal just on this grounds that visas cannot be reserved past the end of the fiscal year. So this has nothing to do with the Administrative Procedures Act. And so this Supreme Court opinion does not upset good luck. But I will read it to make sure, and thank you for bringing it to my attention, because I didn't realize that it impacted the APA. And that is interesting, because all of our mandamus lawsuits come under the APA. That's because Section 555 of the APA says that decisions from the government presented to the government cannot be unreasonably delayed or unlawfully withheld. Thank you, President Johnson, for giving us the Administrative Procedures Act. Okay. Hassan says, why did we not lose 2-1? Why 3-0? Why Judge Sirnivas did not concur or dissent? That was hurt most. Hard to understand their words and hearing, and huge difference between the opinion. I think sometimes there's horse trading that goes on behind doors in these courts. What I mean is, maybe sometimes a judge will say, will you side with me on this case? If you do, I'll side with you on that case. That could be one thing that it's awful, but I think that could be going on. Another thing that could be going on is Judge Sirnivas maybe misread or misunderstood our motion to give a decision sooner, and so instead of taking that to be like, hey, look at the hardship of these plaintiffs, he realized that he said, wow, they're pressuring me to write my dissent sooner. I just need to take that off my plate. And so he just decided not to do it. Because it would have been, for him to dissent, it would have been work, for judges have to explain their opinions. And so maybe that's, I don't know. I'm just speculating. I don't know why that is. I know that this is not the first case in the world that Sirnivas-San has disappointed progressives, though. There was a climate change case back in 2017. Okay. Omar says, in which part, Congress or the White House will more affect? Project 2025 will affect everything. Okay. It's mostly, it's about the White House and the executive branch and the 1,000 employees that they're going to appoint to inflict their new policy objectives. But that's just going to be a huge tsunami impact on government, and so you're going to see impacts in other places. Congress will, in some places, maybe try to push back on the things that Trump does. I don't know. Kind of depends on what happens in Congress too, because there's congressional elections every 2 years also. Okay. Eustace says, what we do next step, DV 2020-21. You don't do anything. You move on with your life. Me and the other attorneys, we're going to try to do an in-bank review of the decision. Hassan says, thanks. Thank you, Hassan. Mother says, would also being a Canadian citizen exempt me from the ban? In 2017, dual citizens were exempted. Good question. First of all, we don't know if dual citizens... They've already promised that this ban will be more comprehensive than the last. Second, I had many clients that were Iranian during the last ban who obtained citizenship in Turkey rather easily. You just buy property there. You buy a condo or a house. So they became dual citizens. And so they're like, I'm no longer subject to the ban. And they're like, okay, you're still an AP. So to answer your question, it would be helpful that if you're a dual citizen, it's always helpful. Mobility is very important, but the way the State Department has traditionally looked at Iranians, even under the Biden administration as well as the Trump administration, is if you were born in Iran, they're going to look at the Iran part. Right or wrong, that's what they do. Can we file a second mandamus lawsuit if the first mandamus is dismissed as a motion to dismiss, or can we file an opposition that will help us? Please advise. Dildar, for me to advise you, I need more information. My personal approach to mandamus lawsuits is I like to file a motion to dismiss always if or I like to oppose a motion to dismiss always. If the government files a motion to dismiss, you file a response in opposition. There's something going on in these forums, and especially like Iranian Telegram, where it's like, oh, the government filed a motion to dismiss, it's over. And I'm just like, why are you all saying that? Like, federal litigation, that is the process. That's what happens. The government has 60 days to file a response of pleading. That can be either an answer to the complaint or a motion to dismiss. If they file a motion to dismiss, that's just the procedure. That's what the government did. Then we file a response in opposition. What I'm saying is a lot of my colleagues, other immigration attorneys, are not fighting the motions to dismiss, or they're not fighting them well. And then the clients say, oh, my case was dismissed. And it's like, but you dismissed it. You gave up. I'm telling people, don't give up. Fight for what you want. And that's what I'm telling you. But there's a couple pieces of information I would want to know before I would apply that general feeling to your facts. And one of those is like who your judge assignment is, because there's some judges, we know what they're going to do before they do it. Okay. So information like that would be very helpful. Also, the length of your delay would be important. And where your petitioner is in the US. Okay. Hanny says, I mean, the only way for us to prove that we are injured is when the fiscal year. Hanny, nobody is disputing that you were injured. That's not the issue that was before the Court of Appeals. Like the State Department didn't dispute that. Nobody's disputing that you were injured. You were injured. Okay. That's not a question. It's whether or not the judge has the authority to remedy that injury in the way that the judge did. That's what the good luck order stands for. Okay. Hanny says, if we sue government before September 30th, they could say we still have time to process. So final injury can come only after September 30th. You make a good argument. So, and I think that argument would probably be addressed in our appeal to the in-bank decision. That they're saying there can't be a remedy after September 30th, but they also say they can't be a remedy before September 30th. So, but understand, good luck. The appeals court didn't say that there cannot be a relief before September 30th. Okay, they didn't upset or overturn the decisions that Judge Mehta did and Judge Chutkan did that said, hey, you have to use good faith efforts to start issuing visas. You know, those visas that got issued in 2020 and 2021 because of our first orders giving injunctive relief from Judge Mehta and Judge Chutkan. The court didn't overturn those. They're not saying judges can't give injunctive relief before September 30th. Good luck only says they can't give relief that goes beyond September 30th. Okay. The order says, why aren't they prioritizing spouse visa of U.S. citizen IR1 cases? It's been AP DS 5535 for 7 months after interview, and nothing is happening. Islamabad Embassy, please advise. Hi, Dildar. Great question. I have no reason to believe that there is a hierarchy or tiered system that prioritizes one visa category over another at the SAC office on the security advisory opinions. One reason I think that's true is because what they're doing is national security vetting. And so national security vetting is important for everybody that's entering the US. But that's why, we see what's interesting though is they are vetting them differently. Like the non-immigrant visas are vetted by this new national vetting center. And you would think that they would all be vetted the exact same way, but they are being vetted a little differently. But I don't have any proof that one is being prioritized over another. I don't have any evidence of that. What you're doing is a policy proposal saying that you propose that they should prioritize the spouses of U.S. citizens in with their AP or their SAO request, and I think that that's a good proposal, but I don't see anybody at State Department that's interested in that. Also, let's talk about AP for a second. Glad you brought that up because, okay, let's start at the beginning. You go to interview and they don't issue you a visa. Instead, they give you a 221G notice and say, here's the DS 5535, give us the responses. When you give those responses to the consular officer, what the consular officer does is they format those responses and they send them to the SAC office in Washington, D.C. Hopefully, sometimes they forget. When they send those to Washington, D.C. SAC office, Carson moves over that office. There's 37 analysts as of April there and 61,000 applications. I say applications, security advisory opinion request. Okay. Those analysts that are looking at those 61,000 security advisory opinion requests, what they are doing is seeking input from other agencies. I think there's like 12, but I've also heard 20. There's some obvious ones, the CIA, the FBI, the NCA, NSA, but there's probably some that would make you angry also, like probably Israel's IDF or something. I mean, we don't know that much about that process. Okay. We just know that the analyst can request information about a person from several different places. A lot of times, I think the delays with AP and SAO requests that are pending is not that the analyst is ignoring the case, but maybe the analyst requested information from an agency that's like the Department of Homeland Security or something, and they're ignoring the request. It would be interesting to know which of these agencies is actually causing the problem if it's not the State Department. I'm on a quest to find that out. If you have inside information about that, if you work for the State Department or you used to work for the State Department and you want to write me a letter and drop it off at a post office box, do that. Okay. I would love to have more information. Okay. I hope people understand that in-bank is more harder than appeal. It needs a lot more work to prove your point. Just to stay calm, our goal is clearer than before after we met through a lot and saw. Interesting. I actually have not got into the procedure for the in-bank review. I just know that our brief is due within 45 days of last Tuesday. I know there are two options on appealing. In-bank, I think we have a better chance because the judge makeup is more favorable to us than the Supreme Court. Okay. Mother, I'll take APDS 5535 over definitive ban. Well, I don't know. It feels like it's the same thing. If I was able to get waivers for people of the definitive ban, in 2019 and 2020 eventually. I think it's the same thing. I think we're pretending like Biden removed the Muslim ban, but a waiver of the Muslim ban's procedure was a DS 5535. That's they promulgated that form in 2017 for that purpose. So anyway, I digress. Hopefully AP doesn't last too long. Agreed. I have Nexus and enter the U.S. more times than I can count. That's great. I've just applied for that kind of thing. I applied for global entry. I don't have it right now. Crossing my fingers, it helps a bit. Okay. I'll cross my fingers for you too. Okay. Our priority date is September 2020. Interview on December 2023 in AP DS 5535 Islamabad, Higher 1. Okay, your priority date is no longer relevant, legally relevant. And you have not been in AP but 7 months, 8 months. I mean, I'll do a mandamus lawsuit for that, but you got to realize that federal judges have generally not found delays of only 7 or 8 months to be unreasonable. So when we file a mandamus lawsuit for a delay of only like 7 or 8 months, what we're looking for is for the State Department to check up on the case and make sure that it's not lost, that the consular officer actually did the security advisory opinion, and that the analyst in the SAC office is actually like processing it correctly. That's the main thing we're looking for. And then there's a hope that the State Department will decide, you know what, we've got too many lawsuits. Maybe we should just wrap these up and, wrap up the vetting, issue the visa to get rid of the lawsuit. Because at this point, I know I have more than 100 pending lawsuits against the State Department, and I'm not the only attorney that does this. And so I don't know how many they have capacity for, but at some point you'd think they'd have other things to do. Okay. My mandamus lawsuit is dismissed now. I don't know if an attorney should file an opposition. I'm going to throw something. Give me something to throw. Your mandamus lawsuit is not dismissed now. Maybe this is a translation problem. The government filed a motion to dismiss. A motion to dismiss is not dismissed now. Dismiss now means you filed a voluntary dismissal or the judge filed an order dismissing the case, okay? That's what's causing a lot of the confusion, this little language nuance that I think is probably a translation problem. The government filing a motion to dismiss is not the same thing as dismiss now. But generally, why would your attorney not file an opposition? I mean, what reasons do your attorney give for not filing an opposition? Those are important. Maybe they have a good reason, but you're on Twitter. DM me. Tell me what your attorney's reasons are for not following an opposition, and I'll tell you if they're crazy or not. Okay. I hoped our appeal were in another court of appeal. Okay, the appeal that we're doing of the good luck order is called in bank. It's going to the 15 judges over the DC circuit. Before it was just the 3-judge panel. Now it's those 3 judges plus 12 more judges. So likely we've got 3 votes already not in our favor, but then we've got 12 more that hopefully we can win. Ditter says, okay. Okay. It's been a good half hour. I'm going to see you next week for episode 85 of Let's Talk Immigration. I have thousands of emails and messages I need to get to, so I'm going to pop out of here. But tomorrow is July 4th. Happy Independence Day if you're in the U.S. I hope everybody has a great holiday.